Here it is, another beautiful day in Goshen. That's what I call this place. And it is a beautiful place. I don't know if you can hear the swallows singing and the birds, and it's just a beautiful place. And this morning, I usually get up early in the morning and I just got my coffee and I was sitting out there, and it was just a beautiful day, and partly cloudy. And as I was sitting there, a cloud that had been blocking the sun went on by, and it just opened up. Made me think of a modulation where it changes key. You wind up in another key, so to speak, or a different key. But I thought how nice it is when it's just the way it was kind of gloomy, and then the cloud went by, and it just opened up, and it was just so beautiful. It made me think of the song Quiero, which is in Spanish, I love you. And Te amo is I love you, but Te quiero is also used as I want you, but this one, Te quiero, is cuánto te quiero, how I love you, or how much I love you. And in this particular thing, it's a song that called Te quiero, and I also named it Canción de Magdalene's song. And the words are so beautiful that it just brought it to mind, because I was sitting over there, semi-cloudiness kind of like this, and then all of a sudden the cloud went by and the light just opened up, and I thought, wow, a modulation. And it made me think of this song as it moved from one face to the other. Made me think of the song Mary Magdalene. I was once contemplating that, how much the song was inspired by the scene where Christ is at the foot of a rich man's, was at a rich man dining, eating, and this woman was at the feet of Christ weeping. And I believe the man was a Pharisee. I believe it was Simon the Pharisee, and who had invited Christ to eat. And Christ, knowing all things, knew the host's thoughts, because he saw the woman touching him. And within himself he said, this man can't be a prophet. If he were a prophet, he wouldn't allow this woman. He would know that this woman is a sinner, and he wouldn't even let her touch him. But Christ, being omniscient, knew his thoughts. And he said to him, there were two men. One had a great debt, tremendous debt, that he could not pay. And another one had a small debt, and the person they were indebted to forgave them both. He says, which one of the two do you think that had most gratitude? And he said, well, of course, the one that was forgiven much. And then he said to him, I came into your home, and in those areas that during that time, the custom was to bring water and have the servants wash the guests' feet because of the dust, and it was refreshing, I imagine. And but he hadn't done that. The host hadn't offered Christ that. And he says, I came into your house, and it was also, point this. It was fashionable, and we still have that custom today, close family kiss. If not only the lips, just cheek to cheek and make the smacking sound, or if there's family, you kiss them up, and that's a whole other subject. But he says, I came into your home and you offered me no kiss. I came into your home and you offered me no water for my feet, to wash my feet. He says, but he didn't start with that presentation after presenting the two great debtors. And when he asked them, which of the two do you think that was most grateful? And he said, of course, the one that was forgiven much. And that's when he told him, I came into your house, you gave me no kiss, you didn't give me water to wash my feet. He says, but this woman, since I've been here, has not ceased weeping, and her tears had been falling on Christ's feet, and she would wipe them with her hair and kiss them. And when I say that, some might think, well, how perverted, kiss somebody's feet. But this woman was the one that was about to be stoned. And when they say stone, that doesn't mean throwing little pebbles at them and running them out of town on the rail. That means stone, brick size, or whatever they could use, and just stone the person to death. But the Lord, when that was occurring, when they were about to stone her, and they turned to Christ and they said, what do you say? She was caught in the act of adultery, which the Pharisee law, the law, Mosaic law, you were stoned to death. And he says, they said, what do you say? And he said, he who is without sin among you, let him cast the first stone. And then he knelt down and began to write in the dust and the sand. And it doesn't say what he wrote. Some speculate that people who came, I've seen it portrayed where people came and looked over his shoulder while he was writing, and one by one they dropped their stone and just moved on. I imagine it was probably more like slithered away. And that happens. We've done it and we've watched it done. And then when they were all gone, the woman was probably just terrified. If you've ever been in court where they say guilty and they is charged and they slam down that gavel, man, it's just the anxiety of it, just, oh man, they just, the hardest of men, and I've known some, just cave, and it just goes down to your toes, and you're looking at your punishment. But he asked the woman, he says, where are thine accusers? And she looked up, and she's, the word, it appears, they're none, they're gone. And he says, neither do I accuse you. He says, go and sin no more. If anybody in the crowd had a right to just, boom, smoke her, the accusers, the hypocrites, the self-righteous, it was Jesus the Lord. And but he didn't. He, again I say, he said, woman, where are thine accusers? And she looked around, and she, in other words, who accuses you? And she says, words to that effect, and she says, no one. And he condemns you, and he says, neither do I. Go and sin no more. He says, don't do it anymore. And all that to come back to this point that happened in her history. That's how she met Christ. And then this song takes place when she was weeping at his feet. I had thought on that, and the name of the song is Te Quiero, I love you.